After diving into Jalen Reagor's tape, I think he really could be the next Randall Cobb, meaning that he'll spend a glorified career on the Green Bay Packers, being beloved by fans everywhere, then going to the Cowboys, and then overpaid by the Texans. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Grossi. And today, we are taking a look at the TCU wide receiver, Jalen Reagor. Now, there's a lot of things I like about Reagor's tape. There's a couple things I'm like, meh, about, but I think he could be a good fit for the Green Bay Packers. However, maybe not in the first round. So to start off with some basic things, guy's 5'11", 206 pounds, so not a bigger wide receiver, which, seems to be Goody's type, but he ran a 4.47 40-yard dash, had a 42-inch vertical, so killed it at the combine. Now, here's taking a look at some of his stats. In 2017, played 14 games, only had 33 receptions, 576 yards, and 8 touchdowns, so obviously not a bona fide starter just yet. In 2018, 13 games, 72 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 1,061, and 9 touchdowns, so he exploded onto the scene as a sophomore and caught the attention of a lot of people. Then in 2019, that productivity actually went down a bit, played 12 games, had 43 receptions, 611 yards, and 5 touchdowns, and I'll explain that drop-off momentarily. In addition to just being a wide receiver, he's also a kick return specialist. So in 2019 alone, he had 15 punt returns for 312 yards and 2 touchdowns. And what makes him so great as a punt returner, as a kick returner, is this guy is incredibly elusive. He obviously has the speed to back it up as shown in his combine numbers. And that's what I absolutely love about him. If there's any huge positives about Reagor, it's the fact that he is so versatile. He's been used as a running back. He's been used as a wide receiver. He's been used in the slot. He's been used outside. Hell, he's even thrown the ball a few times. So I love that about him, and I think looking at his tape, and then as soon as I was done watching it, I was like, I feel like this reminds me of Randall Cobb, and I went back and watched Randall Cobb's college highlights, and I was like, yeah, you see some similarities there. And what I mean by he could be the next Randall Cobb is I think he could be that kind of, do-it-all, switch Army knife kind of player. And I would absolutely love for the Packers to have that because, again, we could have an outside threat, and we could have an inside. And speaking of outside threat, this guy has the speed to be one of those deep threats that we've been so desperately needing. He has great feet. He forces a bunch of missed tackles, great cuts in the backfield, and also in returns. And he has great extension as well. As he has to go up for the ball, chances are he's going to come down with it, and that's one of the things that I really, really enjoyed about him. That's one of the things I loved about Denzel Mims. Mims, it's more consistent, but here, it shows that he can have that, strong hands, bring it down, go over the defender to get the ball kind of play style. Now, for example, if you want to take a look at what I'm talking about, against Iowa State, he went up and got it both times. And the thing is why his productivity went down in 2019 is because his QB was not good. So he was dealing with a freshman quarterback, Max Duggan, who's not really good, only completed about 53% of his passes. And a lot of the times, there was plenty of tape that I showed that I watched that he just completely overthrew and made Reagor go up for it when he really didn't have to. Missed up on a couple of touchdowns for that as well. And so there definitely was a decline in productivity due to the fact that his QB really wasn't that great this season. Now, that being said, it wasn't all of his QB's fault. So in 2018, when he didn't have this QB issue, he dropped 6 out of 137 targets. Not bad, but in 2019, dropped 9 out of 92. And if you compare those numbers, obviously they don't look that bad on the surface, but, ranked down towards the bottom when it comes to wide receivers that are being drafted in the first round and their drops. So that could be a problem. Other issues that I saw from him is he can completely and totally disappear from stat sheets in which he's just non-existent in some games. And I think the biggest thing about him is that he's pretty simplistic in his route running. I read a whole bunch of stuff that said that he doesn't know how to run routes, and I saw not a ton of diversity in his route running, a lot of just go routes or deep posts or corners, and that was about it. But I feel like this stuff can all get taught. Now, that all being said, if you put it all together, do the Green Bay Packers draft him? Here's what I think. I like Jalen Reagor. I don't like him in the first round. The reason being is if a team drafts him in the first round, I feel like they're going to be reaching for him. In a perfect scenario, what I would love to see is either one, he lasts until the second round for the Packers, or two, the Packers trade away their first round pick back into the second round and then they can scoop him up there. So for me, I just think the value of what Reagor offers is not worthy enough of a first round pick. I liked Mims because while there are some aspects of his route running that need to be tweaked, the guy has ridiculously strong hands, doesn't really have a big drop issue, and I really liked his play style. With Reagor, I think Randall Cobb was picked in the second round as well. I think that would be the perfect spot for him. I just don't think the value is there. But again, I think he could do well on the Packers and prove to be a dynamic threat. Just don't really want to give up a first rounder for him. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you like what you see out of Jalen Reagor? Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media you can see down below. Check out Packast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all Patreon members or at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have a reaction video out later today. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.